I am a 20-year-old male who has a brother named Jack, who is 29 years old and married to his wife Amy, who is 26 years old. About 2 years ago, they had their first child, Lisa. On our side of the family, we all look extremely alike. Both of our parents have brown hair and brown eyes, just like me and Jack. However, Amy, who is from Norway, looks very different. She has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a very Scandinavian look, contrasting our American look. So it's no surprise that Lisa got her features from her mom. They look almost identical, and it seems like they look even more alike as time goes on. This was all fine from my understanding, and I don't see why it would be a problem. However, about a year ago, my brother started telling me about how his co-worker's daughter looks like a female version of him. He said that everyone believes that the firstborn child, especially if it's a daughter, resembles their father. I didn't find it weird, as I had heard that before. But I think it's obvious that genetics can work in weird and different ways, and what is considered common doesn't always happen to everyone. I told him exactly that, emphasizing that genetics can have surprising outcomes. However, as time went on, he kept saying things like this, questioning where Lisa got her blonde hair, nose, eyes, and certain mannerisms from. It was obvious that they were from Amy, which I always pointed out to him. Now, I've recently found out that he's demanding a paternity test because he's convinced that Lisa is not his child. Amy is extremely distraught and has been trying to explain to him that Lisa is his and that she just inherited certain traits from Amy, as is common. He has threatened Amy with divorce if she doesn't agree to take the paternity test, using it as confirmation that she cheated on him. Amy came to our parents' house and broke down, sharing this whole situation with us. Our parents have reached out to my brother, and I've tried contacting him as well, but he's now angry with all of us, accusing us of taking the cheater's side, his words. Amy and Lisa are staying with us, and she's extremely confused about where all of this is coming from. I called my brother yesterday, and this time he picked up the phone. I managed to have a conversation with him, asking him if he had any evidence or reason to believe that Amy had cheated. He admitted that he had no evidence but was somehow 100% sure. When I asked him why and how he knew, he claimed that firstborn daughters always resemble and behave like their fathers, but Lisa is completely different. He believed that if it weren't for the resemblance, Lisa should at least have some of his features, which she doesn't. I was getting frustrated with him because his conclusions seemed baseless and irrational. I called him an idiot and told him that he would regret all of this later on. He hung up, even angrier with all of us, claiming that Amy manipulated us and that we can't come crawling back to him once the truth is revealed. I haven't told Amy about this conversation or the reason behind my brother's accusations because I don't think she will react well. However, my parents believe I acted unnecessarily when talking to my brother, as it could have been an opportunity for a mature and serious conversation. So, am I the jerk for reacting the way I did? Edit. I've seen a few comments regarding this, and I'll try my best to answer. However, since I'm only hearing about this from Amy and wasn't present during the entire situation, I don't have all the answers. The details I'm sharing are mainly what she's told me. Basically, my brother sat Amy down and told her that he wanted to be honest with her. He expressed that he didn't think Lisa was his child and believed that Amy had cheated on him. He mentioned that they would need to take a paternity test. He didn't go behind her back to do it, but I can't explain why. They ended up having an argument, and I don't know who left first or the exact words exchanged. All I know is that my brother is currently staying with a friend, and Amy came to stay with us. Amy isn't completely refusing the paternity test, but she was deeply hurt by the insinuation that she would cheat on him. They've been together for 7 years, and their relationship appeared to be great until this point. Amy is mostly hurt by the accusations and the likelihood that their relationship will never be the same. She told me that the past couple of years now feel like a lie, as my brother seems to have suspected her of cheating for a while. Edit 2. Thanks again for all the feedback and comments, both in the comment section and private messages. The paternity test will ultimately take place, and I'll provide updates if any major developments occur. Otherwise, I'll update with the results once they're available. Thanks again for everything. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your brother is not very intelligent. Or this could be a mental crisis brought on by some unacknowledged insecurities that he has. Either way, I don't think there is anything wrong with how you reacted. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your brother could have just gotten a paternity test without involving his wife if he was that concerned. He didn't need to accuse her of cheating based on nothing. Sounds like he just wants a reason to leave. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since the last post. Just when we thought things couldn't get worse, they did. Amy agreed to the paternity test, hoping it would clear the air. The wait for the results was agonizing. Meanwhile, Jack's behavior spiraled. He started drinking more and showing up at our place at odd hours, demanding to see Lisa. It was heartbreaking to see him like this, but we had to set boundaries for Amy and Lisa's sake. During one of these visits, Jack let slip that his friend, the one he's been staying with, had been feeding him ideas about paternity fraud. Apparently, this friend went through a similar situation and it turned out his child wasn't his. This revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. It explained Jack's paranoia but didn't excuse his actions. Our parents tried to mediate, but Jack was past listening. He accused them of favoring Amy over him, their own son. It was a mess. The tension was unbearable and it felt like our family was at a breaking point. Then, the results came in. Lisa was Jack's daughter. There was no doubt about it. Relief washed over us, but it was short-lived. Jack's reaction was unexpected. Instead of apologizing, he accused Amy of somehow tampering with the results. It was absurd, but he was convinced. Amy was done. She told Jack she wanted a divorce. It was a decision that seemed to come from a place of deep hurt and betrayal. She couldn't see past the broken trust, and honestly, I couldn't blame her. I was torn. I wanted to support my brother, but he was wrong. I also wanted to protect Amy and Lisa from his unfounded accusations. I felt like I was being forced to choose sides in a war I never wanted to be part of. In a last-ditch effort to save their marriage, I confronted Jack. I told him he was throwing his family away over a delusion. It was a heated exchange, and in the heat of the moment, I threatened to cut him off if he didn't drop this madness. That was the moment everything changed. Jack looked at me, his eyes cold, and said, "Fine. If that's how you all feel, I'm done with this family." He walked out, and that was the last time I saw him. The aftermath was brutal. Amy filed for divorce, and the process was as messy as you'd expect. Jack fought for custody, but his recent behavior didn't do him any favors. In the end, Amy got full custody, and Jack was granted supervised visitation. Our parents were devastated. They lost a son and were struggling to keep the family together. I felt guilty for my part in the escalation, but I also felt I had to stand up for what was right. Now, Amy and Lisa are trying to move on, but the scars are deep. Lisa asks about her dad, and it's a reminder of the family we once were. I'm trying to be there for them, but I can't help but feel like I failed Jack in some way. It's a harsh reality that sometimes standing up for what's right can lead to negative outcomes. I never imagined my family would be torn apart like this. It's a tough pill to swallow, and I'm just hoping time will heal these wounds. Thanks for reading. My stepdaughter tells me I'm not her mom after I raised her for 8 years, so I stop being the mother she never had and leave them with their cheating bio mom in New York while I find my happiness. My husband, 40-year-old male, and I, 36-year-old female, have been together for 8 years now, and our marriage has been rocky. When I met him, he had twins, a boy and a girl. I love them like they're my children, since it's hard for me to have kids. They are 16-year-old. The husband kids haven't seen their mom in years because she left them for a guy in New York, which is so sad because they didn't get to have a relationship with her. The twins call me mom and everything. We do everything like a little family I always wanted. When I was younger, I always used to tell myself not to date a single father because they might be messing with the mother of their kids. But I took the leap of faith. The other day, my son and daughter wanted to go to the mall with their friends, which was fine because they go to the mall a lot with them. The argument started because of what she was wearing. She wore a very short skirt with a crop top and a jeans jacket. I immediately told her no and to change her clothes because I didn't feel comfortable with her going outside like that. I don't even know where she got the skirt from because anything she gets from the mall she gives me a haul. Her brother didn't even care what she was wearing and just rolled his eyes at me. She was pissed and upset. At the top of the steps she screamed and told me I wasn't her mom, so I should stop acting like it. Her brother laughed and that made me feel even worse, so I asked him why it was funny to him and he said that it's true. I'm not their mom, so I need to stop acting like I can tell them what to do. This felt like a slap in the face because I basically raised her and this is what I get? The past months they've been saying horrible things to me. My daughter even told me it was my fault I lost the baby and she's happy I did. But the next day I toughened up. I acted like nothing happened that day. I would usually wake them up for school and make them breakfast, but this time, I didn't. I made myself breakfast because, like they said, I'm not their mom. My son had a basketball game that day, and I would be the mom to bring snacks for the team, but I wasn't going. My daughter had a cheer competition 2 days after, but I wasn't going. And I know y'all might call me petty for this, and I wouldn't disagree with you. I've been getting up and ignoring everyone. I could feel them staring at me every time. Last night my daughter came up to me and asked me why I didn't show up to her competition, and I told her I wasn't her mom, so why would I? I can already see the "you're the idiot and I raised my husband's kids" and stuff. I told my husband what they said, but he brushed me off. I don't think our marriage is working out and I've been thinking about a divorce. I feel unappreciative in the place I call home. When I slave in the kitchen to make them food, they order out instead, so I am the only one eating the food. Was that too harsh? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Also, you are only 36. I would not waste any more of my time with him if I were you. Take a year to yourself and try to see if it is possible to have your own family. Harsh to the twins, but they made it clear you are not their mom, and your husband is using you for a ready-made mom, while he gives no care to the fact that you don't have a secure place in his family. Comment 2. You're 36, go to the doctor and find out for sure if you're having trouble having kids. Miscarriages happen, that doesn't mean you have no chance. They are jerks, and if you let them, they will treat you like this for the rest of their lives. Sadly, if you go back to the mommy role, you will most likely always know this is how they feel about you. You deserve better. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. A lot has happened since the last post. Things went from bad to worse when my husband decided to take the twins on a surprise trip without telling me. I found out when I saw a suitcase missing and questioned him. He said they needed family time, which was a punch in the gut considering I thought I was family too. The trip was to New York. And guess who lives in New York? Their mother. I was left alone, stewing in a mix of betrayal and abandonment. While they were gone, I did some thinking. I realized I was tired of being the only one trying in this relationship. I started looking into divorce lawyers, just to know my options. But then, my husband came back early, alone, and with a bombshell. The twins decided to stay with their mother. They wanted to give her a chance. I was floored. After all these years, after all I'd done, they just left. My husband was a mess. He kept saying he didn't see it coming, that he thought they were happy with us. But I couldn't help but feel like this was his doing. He had always been too soft on them, never backing me up. And now, they were gone. The house felt empty, and our marriage felt like a sham. We were strangers living under the same roof. I started spending more time at work, avoiding coming home. My husband tried to talk, to fix things, but it was too little, too late. Then, one night, I came home to find him drunk, with a letter in his hand. It was from the twins. They wanted to live with their mother permanently. They said they felt more at home with her. That letter was the last straw. I told my husband I wanted a divorce. He didn't fight it, didn't even seem surprised. Maybe he was relieved. The divorce moved quickly. I think we both just wanted it to be over. I moved out, got a small apartment. It's quiet, but it's mine. I've started to rebuild my life, focusing on myself for once. It's not easy, but I'm getting there. I heard through the grapevine that the twins are doing well in New York. Part of me is happy for them, but there's a part that's bitter too. I raised them, and they left without a backward glance. It hurts, but I'm learning to let go. My husband and I are officially divorced now. We don't talk much, just the occasional text about finalizing paperwork. It's better this way. I need to move on, to find happiness without him, without the twins. I've started dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee dates and small talk. It's nice to feel wanted, to be seen as more than just a stepmom or a wife. I'm rediscovering who I am, what I want out of life. I won't lie, there are days when the loneliness hits hard. But I'm stronger now, more resilient. I've been through the ringer, but I'm still standing. And that's something to be proud of. Thanks for reading. My daughter gets bullied at school and they do nothing, so I take them to court and win big for justice. My daughter's 6-year-old has been coming from school and lately she's been down. I noticed she wasn't acting like her normal bubbly self, so I asked her what was wrong. I found out that 2 of her friends were talking about her skin color and making discriminatory remarks. I was upset because being discriminatory is never okay, especially if you're growing up as a black girl. I got in contact with the school to ask if we could have a meeting so I could talk to the kids' parents. However, it didn't go well. The parents of the 2 girls had bad attitudes. They were speaking over me when I tried to say anything. I knew it was getting nowhere, so I told them to teach their kids not to have hatred, and that was it. But they wanted to argue and call me slurs. That shouldn't be happening in a school if you ask me. The reason why the school didn't say anything is because they don't care at all. The counselor had to calm them down, though. After that, nothing changed. The girls, 7 years old, didn't change, and continued to call my daughter names, so I told her not to be around them. I told the school that if they don't try to do anything about the bullying happening in the school, I will sue them. I know it's dramatic. 1 week later, the 2 girls showed up to my house. We lived 2 houses down from each other, asking if they could play with my daughter because they had no one to play with. But I was not having it. I didn't argue with them or anything. I told them that the things they said to my daughter really hurt her, so she doesn't want to see them. I told them they can't hang out with my daughter. The girls went home crying and their mother came banging on my door like a crazy lady. She asked me why I made her girls cry, and I don't know what the girls said to their parents, but they were pissed. I kept telling her to get away from my door, but she wouldn't listen. So, what did I do? I called the cops because I live in private property, so it was pretty easy. The cops came and calmed her down and made her go her own way. LOL, I can already hear the discriminatory aunts saying it's fake or your daughter must have done something to be called slurs. Crazy. I've already received my first death threat. Congrats to me, I guess. Edited. Wow, I didn't know I was going to get this much support, and I really do appreciate everyone. I'm taking the advice that you guys are giving me. I'm writing down everything and taking copies of everything, and if I have anything else, I will update you guys. Hugs. And please, if you want to share your experience of something that happened to you that was related to this, I would love to hear it because I want to know different perspectives on how others dealt with this. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. That mom is seriously crazy if she was calling you slurs at the school after her child Ren was being discriminatory to your daughter, and she is still expecting you to let them anywhere near your daughter. Also, you didn't make them cry. The consequences of their actions made them cry. I think it's easy to see why they don't have other friends. Make sure you keep the school and the police updated on any further issues. It will be easier to take action later when there is documentation. Comment 2. Don't just say you'll sue, tell the school you'll take this to the press. They can quietly sweep a lawsuit under the rug with enough money. What they can't rug sweep is a news article going nationwide about how the school tolerates racism amongst its students. The threat alone should get the wheels turning, not the idiot. Now, for the update. Thanks for all the comments and advice. Things have escalated since my last update. So, after the incident with the girl's mother at my door, things quieted down for a bit. But then, my daughter came home from school with a bruise on her arm. She said one of the girls pushed her down at recess. I was livid. I marched right over to the school and demanded to see the principal. They tried to brush it off, saying kids will be kids, but I wasn't having any of it. I told them this was the last straw and I was going to take legal action. I found a lawyer who specializes in discrimination cases, and we started to build a case against the school. It was risky because it could drag on and cost a lot, but I couldn't let this slide. We gathered evidence, including statements from other parents whose kids had faced similar issues. It was clear this was a bigger problem than just my daughter. But then, the school did something unexpected. They called a meeting with all the parents to address the tensions in the community. They announced they were implementing a new anti-bullying program and would be bringing in counselors to work with the kids. It felt like a victory, but I was skeptical. The next day, the girl's father approached me. He was all apologies, saying he didn't realize how serious this was and that his wife was out of line. He said they wanted to make amends and asked if our daughters could try to be friends again. I didn't trust him, but I could see he was trying to make things right. I agreed to a supervised play date to see how things would go. It was awkward at first, but the girls started to play together like nothing had happened. I watched them like a hawk, but there were no issues. It seemed like they really had learned their lesson. The father thanked me for giving them a second chance and said he'd make sure it never happened again. I was starting to feel like maybe we could move past this, but then I got a call from my lawyer. The school was trying to discredit our case, saying I was an overreactive parent and that the issues were resolved. They had parents from the meeting vouching for the school's new policies. It felt like a slap in the face. I had to make a choice. I could drop the lawsuit and hope the school really had changed, or I could push forward and risk alienating myself from the community. I decided to go ahead with the lawsuit. It wasn't just about my daughter anymore. It was about all the kids who had been let down by the school. The case went to court and it was intense. The school had their lawyers trying to tear apart my case, but we held strong. And then, the turning point came when another student came forward with their own story of bullying. It was the evidence we needed to show this was a systemic issue. In the end, the court ruled in our favor. The school was ordered to pay damages and implement a comprehensive anti-discrimination policy. It was a hard-fought win, but it felt good to know I'd made a difference. After the trial, things started to settle down. My daughter was doing better and even made some new friends. The girls from before kept their distance, but there were no more issues. I felt like I could finally breathe again. But then, just when I thought it was all over, I found a note in my mailbox. It was from the girl's mother, the one who had been so hostile before. She said she was sorry for everything, and that she had been dealing with her own issues. She thanked me for standing up for what was right and said she hoped our daughters could be friends again someday. I don't know if I can ever fully forgive her, but the note was a start. It's been pretty hard on us, but I'm hopeful that we're moving in the right direction. Thanks for sticking with me through this. I'll keep you posted if anything else happens. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.